Good evening and welcome to CYC News for the 9th of July 2017 and the 2nd of Abib 17:33 am. I'm David Nada. In today's headlines, arriving in Europe, Trump faces stiff challenges in Merkel-Putin showdowns. Suicide attacker kills at least 20 in Damascus. The capture of Mosul from ISIS is imminent. Zombies descend on Hamburg for G20 protest. Laptop ban lifted for Emirates and Turkish Airlines. And a spreading cancer is caught on film. So our top story, when President Donald Trump visited Europe 6 weeks ago, he and his counterparts parted ways atop of a Sicilian cliff, feeling agitated and bettered following a long set of disagreements. Now the stakes may be even higher. Returning to the continent late Wednesday, Trump and those same European leaders will give it another go, with expectations of fostering a newly warm relationship far lower. Instead, both sides accept further clashes between the US president and leaders like German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who is convening this year's Group of 20 meetings in her hometown of Hamburg. The northern port city in Germany is also setting up for Trump's first in-person meeting Friday with Russian Vladimir Putin, a closely watched session that has taken on greater significance given the swirl of controversy about Russia's cyber meddling in last year's election. Hamburg is expected to play host to confrontations over a broad slate of issues where Trump and his European allies have disagreed, mainly because Merkel has ensured those sticking points, including trade, climate and migration, feature prominently on the G20 agenda. Putin and the US relationship with Russia and the future of NATO also looms large. Jeff Rothko, a senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, speculates the big question is whether he will repair some of the damage from the stops in Europe in May, or will they be compounded? Before Trump arrives in Germany, he's making a 15-hour-long stop in Poland, a country where he's likely to receive a positive welcome from a conservative government and a largely pro-American population. Air Force One touched down at the Warsaw Chopin Airport just after 10 p.m. on Wednesday. On Thursday, he's due to address a regional summit of Eastern European leaders and deliver an outdoor speech in Krasinski Square, the site of monument to Poles who fought to liberate Warsaw from German occupation in World War II. White House officials said the speech would spell out in broad terms Trump's vision for the transatlantic ties. Poland's right-wing government has caused anxiety in Brussels, where the EU leaders fear proposed constitutional reforms and a crackdown on opposition media could amount to democratic backsliding. But those concerns didn't prevent Trump from scheduling a stop in the country, where he's expected to praise Poland's success in meeting its NATO defense spending pledge and tout new exports of US liquid natural gas in a bid to wean the country from Russian-produced energy. And while Poles, like most of the world, continue to regard Trump with some skepticism, the country's population is a large favourable to the United States in the whole, meaning he's expecting to be met with cheering crowds during his brief stay. The visit to a friendly capital is similar to Trump's decision in May to make Saudi Arabia his first stop abroad, where he was given an elaborate royal welcome before travelling onward more fraught destinations. In the UK, Downing Street has said it's not aware of any plans for US President Donald Trump to visit the UK in the next few weeks, after British media reported that he would visit Scotland following the G20 summit in Germany next weekend. A spokesman for Prime Minister Theresa May told CNN, "Our position remains the same, that an invitation was extended and accepted. Dates will be set in due course." Reports in the British media claim that President Trump would visit Turnberry, his golf course in Scotland, before travelling to meet with French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris to celebrate Bastille Day on July 14. CNN has reached out to the White House for comment. Trump's state visit invitation, which would typically include a meeting with the Queen, was extended by the Prime Minister days after his inauguration in January. There has been much speculation about the timing of the visit, speaking last month after the visit was not included in the Queen's speech. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson said Trump would be welcomed soon. At least 14 people were killed, among them 4 children and a captain in the Iraqi police, when a suicide bomber detonated a device in a camp for internally displaced people west of Ramadi in the Iraqi province of Anbar. Ramadi Mayor Ibrahim al-Swag and 2 security officials told CNN the explosion also injured 19 others. According to Oswag, the suicide bomber was hiding among a group of new arrivals who had fled the city of Qam, a city at Iraq-Syria border and still under ISIS control. He detonated his explosives as the group approached the security screening checkpoint at the entrance of a camp in a town of Al-Wafa, 60 kilometers southwest of Ramadi. ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack in a statement posted by the group's media wing, Amaq, saying it targeted members of the Iraqi military who were gathered at the camp's entrance. Aid groups condemned the attack. International Rescue Committee's Iraq Country Director, Wendy Tober, said this attack is a cruel reminder of the violence that still threatens the lives of people across Iraq. After fleeing conflict and violence in search of protection, it is imperative that the camps for displaced families remain secure and neutral places. We call on all parties to respect the civilian and humanitarian character of camps. In In Syria, a suicide bomber blew himself up in central Damascus on Sunday, killing at least 20 people, according to the Syrian Foreign Ministry. According to the state media, the ministry said in a letter to the UN Secretary Council that dozens more were injured, including children. Syria's Health Minister Nizar Yazigi said injuries ranged from minor to severe. State media reported authorities had been pursuing 3 cars and were able to intercept 2 and destroy them, state media said. As they closed in the 3rd car near the city of Al Tahrir Square, the suicide bomber detonated on it. Iraqi forces are locked in an intense battle for the final few blocks of western Mosul, still under ISIS control. Coalition spokesman Colonel Ryan Dillon confirmed Iraq forces had seized the remains of an iconic mosque and minaret. The capture of Mosul is imminent, but the battle remains a difficult fight, with days rather than weeks to go. The capture of the great mosque of Al-Nuri, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, declared the ISIS caliphate in 2014, marks a major stride in the 8-month battle to seize the city's largest Iraqi metropolis outside Baghdad from the terrorist group. A CNN team was on the front line of the battle earlier with Iraqi units fighting ISIS. At that time, Iraqi forces had not yet captured the remains of the mosque, and a fierce battle was underway. An Iraqi military spokesman told CNN that Iraqi forces secured the perimeter of the mosque, where ISIS placed landmines. In a scene straight out of a Walking Dead nightmare, Hamburg streets teemed with zombies in a statement over political participation ahead of Friday's G20 summit. A dramatic performance piece orchestrated by the 1,000 Gestalten collective saw 1,000 actors descended upon the city centre, shuffling and clawing through the streets in eerie silence before a single demonstrator shed his zombie facade to reveal colourful clothes beneath. The group's orchestrator said the production was designed to emphasize that change can come from single individuals. A 1,000 Gestalten spokesman said, in a statement, "We cannot wait until the change happens from the world's most powerful. We have to show political and social responsibility, all of us, now. Our campaign is a further symbol for the fact that many people do not want to put up with the destructive impact of capitalism any longer. What will save us in the end is not our account balance, but someone who will offer their holding hand." Earlier in the week, smaller pockets of the undead had popped up around the city caked in dusty grey clay, with more emerging as the summit draws closer. Organisers expect tens of thousands of people to descend on Hamburg to take part in demonstrations throughout the 2-day summit. Passengers flying to the US from Dubai and Istanbul no longer have to pack laptops and tablets in their luggage. Emirates and Turkish Airlines confirmed that the US ban on electronics devices larger than a smartphone in cabins was lifted on Wednesday. The Dubai-based airline said in a statement, Emirates has been working hard in coordination with various aviation stakeholders and the local authorities to implement heightened security measures and protocols that meet the requirements of the US Department of Homeland Security's new security guidelines for all US-bound flights. The US introduced the ban in March over concerns that devices could be used to smuggle explosives on board. The Department of Homeland Security has refused to detail all the new requirements for security reasons, but they include greater scrutiny of passengers entering the US, enhanced screening of electronic devices, and better deployment of canines that detect explosives. In health news, the way in which every single cancer cell spreads around the body has been captured in videos by the team in Japan. The normal body tissues show up as green, while the cancer comes out as an intense red spot. The team at the University of Tokyo at the Riken Quantitative Biology Center says that technology will help explain the deadly process. The research is on mice so far, but it is hoped that the method could one day help with treatment too. The spread of cancer around the body is a crucial moment called metastasis. Before a cancer spreads, it is an easy-to-contain cure. Afterwards, it is incredibly difficult. The tumor itself must evolve so bits of it are able to break free, survive traveling in bloodstream, and invade new tissues. A deeper understanding of how this happens could lead to new ideas for treatment. The mice were injected with cancerous tissues engineered to fluoresce. The researchers then let the disease progress before using chemicals that made the mouse's body and internal organs highly transparent. It meant the body could be rapidly imaged and the location of any cancerous tissue detected. Dr. Hiroki Ueda, one of the researchers, told the BBC News website, "We are now applying this technology to the human clinical samples. I hope this tissue clearing and 3D imaging of human samples will make diagnosis easier, more objective and accurate in the future. It is thought the technology could be adapted to other disciplines, including how the body cells behave in people with autoimmune diseases." And in sport, Barcelona and Lionel Messi have agreed a contract renewal that will keep the Argentinian at the Catalan club until June 30, 2021. Messi's new deal comes after Day's 30-year-old marriage to childhood sweetheart Antonella Roccuzzo. The club said in a statement the deal will be signed in the coming weeks when Messi returns to the team for pre-season training. The club is very happy with both the renewal and the commitment of Messi, the best player in history, who has played his full professional career at Barca and has led the team to an era of extraordinary success, the likes of which has never been seen in the world of football. And that's all for CYC News. A reminder that you can watch this bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm David Nada from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. Have a good night and God bless.